Hello and welcome class 10th to another video of revision. Today we are going to revise lesson number 13, banking, and specifically we are going to talk about commercial banks today. So what is a bank? Okay. Now bank is actually defined as an institution that deals in money and credit. And if you see here on page number 170, you will find a definition for what is a bank by the Banking Regulation Act of India, and it says that the accepting for the purpose of lending or investment of deposits of money from the public, repayable on demand or otherwise, and withdrawal by check, draft or order or otherwise is a bank. So bank is an institution where money is accepted either for lending, that means money is either lent or given for investment purpose, money is deposited and the loans are given out, loans have to be repaid, and money can be withdrawn by checks or drafts or any other method. So that is a bank basically. Now we will specify to what commercial banks are. So basically commercial bank definition you will find over here, and you will see that Crowther has given a definition for commercial bank, and he says a bank collects money from those who have it to spare or who are saving it out for their incomes and lend this money out to those who require. So bank is a place that takes money from people who want to give and who are willing to save their money, and it also not only takes money but it also gives money as loans to the people who are in need. Another definition is that a commercial bank is an institution that accepts the deposits from the public. It allows to withdraw by check and uses the money so collected for lending to the households, the firms and the governments. So anybody, that means if we are saying households, firms and government, that means anybody can make use of these banks. Now we will see the functions of commercial banks, and in this we will talk specifically about acceptance of deposits and we will talk about lending of money. These are some points of lending of money. So first of all we will talk about acceptance of deposits. If you can see here, there are few important points in this. Number one is fixed deposit. Now what is a fixed deposit? Basically a fixed deposit, in this kind of an account, a particular amount is deposited and that can be withdrawn only after a period of time that the bank and the depositor agree upon. It is meant for the long period and it has higher interest rate. Next is current account. So basically in this case, in case of a current account, no interest is paid by the bank to the depositors. Okay. In fact, bank is trying to provide overdraft facility also in this case, in the case of current accounts. Next is saving deposit account. Now in case of saving deposit account, the kind of account is opened by banks with the objective of collecting small savings from the people who have small earnings, and then those people can keep some money in the account and they can withdraw as per the policy of the bank. So according to bank policies they can withdraw the money. Next is recurring deposit account, which is an account in which the account holder has to deposit a certain amount that is fixed for every month for a specified period of time. So this amount has to be paid on a monthly basis, and on this bank does not provide any check facility on this kind of an account. And rate of interest is paid by the government, but it is not, by the bank, not the government, but by the bank, which is not very high as compared to what fixed deposits pay. Alright, now we will move on to page number 173 and we find over here lending of money. So in this case, there are four important things that we will see. First is cash credit. So in cash credit, the bank is actually advancing a cash loan to a specified limit to the consumer, and some or the other thing has to be given as a security. Okay. So this is like a loan that is being sanctioned to the borrower, and the borrower is required to open up a current account. Okay. So the loan is given in the current account. Next is loans. So a loan is actually a specified amount that is sanctioned to the borrower. We all take loans, and there can be house loans or personal loan or some kind of a loan can be taken. And basically loans are something that is like a specified amount that a borrower gets for a fixed period of time, and then the bank will take back the money from the borrower, and it's like, you know, it can be paid in installments. Okay, and either, like, there is a choice for the consumer. Either the consumer can pay in installments, monthly basis, or a consumer can pay it in a lump sum amount. Okay, so a loan is basically something that is granted against some kind of security. So something, you know, assets or personal security of the borrower has to be there against which loan can be provided. Next is overdraft. So overdraft is a facility that is given to the depositor who has a current account with the bank. Now in this facility, a borrower is actually allowed to withdraw more money, and no matter how much the person has deposited, but the person or the borrower can withdraw more than what he has deposited, and whatever excess amount he is withdrawing, he has to repay that to the bank in a short period of time. Okay, next is discounting of bills of exchange. So first of all, you must know what are bills of exchange. So bills of exchange is actually, it is a written document, or we can say it's like an agreement between two parties. Okay, and in this case what happens is that the, you know, amount is fixed, and basically this bills of exchange is majorly used in the case of international trade. So now what is discounting of bills? In this facility, the bank pays the amount of bill that is presented by the customer after deducting the usual bank discount. So now the customer, whoever has done this trade, is supposed to pay. But now because he is not able to pay, so his or her bank is going to pay the amount. Okay, and that also after deducting the bank discount. So this is the facility of discounting of bills of exchange. So it's basically like a 90 days maturity, and bill matures after 90 days, and this is how it happens. There is a discount that the bank provides on this. In this way, the customer gets the amount of the bill before the date of its maturity. Now moving on to the next page, there are a few more functions like agency function and credit creation that we are not going to study. Further, I would like you all to turn your books to page number 177, where we are going to talk about credit creation by commercial banks, and in this there are many points, but we will only discuss two important points. And the first out of the two is primary deposit. So in this case what happens is that basically primary deposits just try to transform the currency money into deposit money, and there is no change in the total amount of money in the economy. So it is just that currency or notes are converted into deposited money. Primary deposit is like that. Okay, so bank is just creating deposits in the process of advancing loans to the customers. But if you turn your books to page 178, you will find derivative deposits. Now what are derivative deposits? They are the second method by which banks can create deposits. Okay, credit creation means creating money. Okay, so here what you have to see, when banks advance loans, they do not pay the amount in cash, but they are doing what? They are opening the demand deposits in the name of the borrower. So they are not just simply advancing the loan, they are not just paying the amount in cash, but they are opening up a current account in the name of the borrower. The person who is wanting to take the loan has to get a bank account open, that also a current account. Okay, so these derivative deposits are actively created by banks through their lending and investment activities. Now, process of credit creation is not in your syllabus, but I'll just tell you how creation of credit takes place. See, what happens is, let's say a person deposits 1000 rupees in the bank. Now the reserve percentage of the bank is 10%. So 100 rupees is kept as reserves, and 900 rupees is given out as loan to some person. Now that person comes back to the bank and gives 900 rupees and deposits that money. Now that's his secondary account. That means derivative deposit. Now again 10% is the reserve. So 90 rupees out of 900 is gone in reserves, and remaining 810 rupees are the loan amount, excess reserves. So this 810 is again deposited in the bank. That is also a secondary deposit, derivative deposit we can say. And 10%, because 10% is the reserve, so 81 rupees will be kept with the bank and 729 can be given out as loans. Now that person who's taken the loan is again depositing the money, 729 rupees in the bank, and 10% out of the 729 is the reserve, and the excess amount is, or the excess reserve or loan amount is left. So this is how creation of credit takes place. Okay, so this is how we can say that money flows through the commercial bank. So commercial banks, what happens? One person goes to the commercial bank, deposits his money. From his money, a certain amount is kept as reserve and the remaining is given out to people who need money. So loans are given out. Then again those loans people, they bring back money or they deposit in some other bank, and that bank also has a policy of keeping a certain percentage of reserves. Then they also keep that percentage, and remaining amount, excess amount, is given out as loans. So this process continues, and in this continued process the creation of credit takes place. That means money is created by itself. So this is the lesson, students. I hope you all have understood. Here the lesson comes to an end. Limitations of credit creation, role of banks, these are not in your syllabus. So here we are at the end of our lesson. I hope you all have understood. All the best, students.